Hello and welcome to join my class. Today we have a topic life process. Life process chapter number 6 in ncert. Here in this topic we will discuss different types of life processes that takes place in living organism. First of all, how can we differentiate between living and non-living things? We always attach a movement to being alive. Suppose that if we see a dog running, a cow chewing cud, a man shouting in a street, we say that they are living things. But what if they were asleep? When they were asleep, we say that they are breathing. And we call them living organism because they were breathing. Breathing. What about plants? How we decide that plants are living organism and how we can say that the plants are living organism? When we see the plant growing, we see the plant parts, different parts of plant growing. जब हम उनको वृद्धि करते हुए देखते हैं तो ये निर्धारित करते हैं कि वो जो है लिविंग हैं. और even the non-green plants, they also show growth and we can decide that they are living organism. Here, dear students, we attach movement as evidence of being alive. But there are some organisms which can breathe without any visible movement. So then how we can decide that they are living? Because there is no movement in them. Using visible movement as defining characteristic of life is not sufficient. Movements over very small scale are invisible to naked eye. For example, movement of molecule. The question arises, the movement of molecule, these invisible movement are necessary for life. In fact, the viruses do not show movement of molecules. That is why there is controversy whether they are living or not. Why are molecular movement needed? Again, the question arises, why molecular movements are needed in living organism? Living organisms are well organized structures. They can have tissues, they can have cells, and cells have components in them. The components of cells are known as cell organelles. Because of the effect of environment, these organized and ordered nature of cell structure may break down over the time. So therefore, cells has to maintain their structure and for this movement of molecule is needed within the cell or from outside the cells to inside the cell. So now in upcoming next topic we will discuss different types of life processes and we will define what are life processes. Next topic is what is life process. Come here. What are life processes? The maintenance of the living structure, living organism will go on even when we are sleeping. So let us see what are life processes. The life process is the process which together perform maintenance job in living organism are called life processes. The maintenance processes stop damage and breakdown, therefore need energy. Maintenance processes stop damage and breakdown. जो मेंटेनेंस प्रोसेस होते हैं लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म में और सेल में, उनके लिए एनर्जी की जरूरत होती है. द क्वेश्चन अराइजेस फ्रॉम वेयर living organism obtain energy? The energy comes from outside source, which we call food. एनर्जी एक आउटसाइड सोर्स से आती है जिसको हम फूड बोलते हैं. प्रोसेस ऑफ टेकिंग फूड एंड ऑब्टेनिंग एनर्जी और यूटिलाइजिंग इट इज नोन एज न्यूट्रिशन. इस प्रोसेस को हम क्या कहते हैं? न्यूट्रिशन. न्यूट्रिशन की तरह ही और दूसरे प्रोसेस भी हैं, लेकिन अभी फर्स्ट प्रोसेस पे हम आए हैं. पहला प्रोसेस क्या है? न्यूट्रिशन है. देन क्वेश्चन कम्स, व्हाई फूड इज नीडेड? द फूड इज नीडेड फॉर जनरल ग्रोथ ऑफ द बॉडी. लाइफ ऑन अर्थ डिपेंड्स अपॉन कार्बन बेस्ड मॉलिक्यूल्स. हम जानते हैं कि हमने डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ न्यूट्रिएंट्स पढ़े हैं. फैट, प्रोटीन एंड कार्बोहाइड्रेट. फूड इज टेकन फ्रॉम आउटसाइड in a complex form. It is digested and changed into simpler form, then stored in a body. The stored food in a body act as a uniform source of energy when needed by the body. To obtain energy from food, it need to be broken down. This breakdown occurs in the presence of oxygen. This process is known as respiration. इस प्रोसेस को हम क्या कहते हैं? रेस्पिरेशन बोलते हैं. This process is known as respiration. Oxygen needed for this process is taken from outside. इस प्रोसेस में जो ऑक्सीजन इस्तेमाल होती है वो बाहर से ली जाती है. Different organism has different means of taking oxygen. Single-celled organism obtain oxygen through diffusion along concentration gradient. Oxygen from higher concentration diffuses into the cell, and in the cell carbon dioxide is produced. It diffuses from inside the cell to outside environment. But in multicellular organism there is a problem. But this problem is solved in multicellular organism because they have well organized organ system. They have specialized cells to perform special function. These specialized cells are known as tissues. Another next problem जो living organism में आती है वो है कि oxygen is taken at one side and it is used as different places in the body. How this problem is solved? How oxygen is transported to different parts of the body. How oxygen is transported to different parts of the body. To solve this problem, multicellular organism has circulatory system. In multicellular organism, there is a fluid which circulates throughout the body and act as a medium of transport in them. As we know that different types of chemical reaction takes place in living organism which involves oxygen and carbon dioxide. These reactions produces some byproducts which are toxic to organism. They needed to be removed from the body, and their removal process is known as excretion. So dear students, we discussed different types of processes briefly. In upcoming instruction, these processes are taken in detail. Now taking first life process in detail, the nutrition. Nutrition may be defined as the sum total of processes in which the living organism obtain food and utilize it for various biological activities such as growth, maintenance, meeting their energy needs is termed as nutrition. इसको इन सारे सम टोटल प्रोसेस को हम क्या बोलते हैं? न्यूट्रिशन बोलते हैं, जिसमें कि obtaining energy, utilizing food in various biological activities. Nutrition is of two types: autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition is a nutrition where organism is able to manufacture its own food. For example, green plants. Green plants can manufacture their food in the presence of sunlight by utilizing inorganic raw material carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide and water are obtained from environment. Water is absorbed from soil and CO2 is taken from atmosphere. This process is known as photosynthesis. This process occurs in green cells of plant. In photosynthesis, a green colored pigment chlorophyll traps light energy, and two processes occur in photosynthesis. Number one is conversion of light energy to chemical energy and splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. And second process is reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. The overall reaction is written as 6CO2 plus 12H2O. In the presence of sunlight, chlorophyll acts as a light trapping pigment. Carbohydrate is formed, glucose, oxygen, and water. So that is how plant obtain their nutrition, and they are autotrophic because they can manufacture their own food.